countdown to the finals presented by Wendy's. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the last game of the women's college basketball season. We've seen a lot of good things all season, and now we're at the AAC. Fans are excited. Christine Williamson, Tarika Foster-Brasby. I mean, we feel good. I mean, I don't know if I feel good about the fact that the season is ending, but I feel good about the fact that we're here in this moment.
Yes,
right?
I think I might be a little sad that the season is ending. Like it's been really one of the best seasons that we have seen in so long, maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like, is it okay to say ever?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at least since 2011, because there's been a lot of parity when it comes to this women's college basketball season. It's the first time since 2011 that there isn't a one seed in this final game.
Right.
So there's a lot of parity, a lot of things that were unexpected that happened this season. I know I had South Carolina in my finals matchup, so it's been a little crazy. What's the best thing that you've seen so far?
Oh my God.
Out here. Yeah, in Dallas.
Well, I feel like with all these Iowa Hawkeye fans behind me, if I didn't say Caitlin Clark, I'd be in trouble.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I should probably talk about that. Her performance was amazing, but it has been all tournament long.
Right.
I think the fact that teams have played so confident, and LSU, like, they're ready. They're coming out tonight ready to prove some things, and so I'm all in jitters.
Okay, so since you mentioned Caitlin Clark, let's take a look back at how both of these teams got here. Before we get into today's game, we have to talk about Friday night semifinals games, and we'll start with that Iowa-South Carolina matchup where Caitlin Clark went off once again. The second straight game with 41 points. She's the first women's player and the second overall with back-to-back 40-point games in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you said she's been box office. What did you make of her performance?
I would go so far as to say one of the greatest individual performances that I've ever seen in the Final Four. And I'm not that old, guys, so it's not like I got a whole lot to work with here. But, I mean, 41 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. There was literally nothing that you can do with her. And sometimes you just kind of have that game, right? Sometimes there are those games where players really just blank out, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. And that was the situation that South Carolina was in.
Right. She was 5 of 17 from the three-point line, which, I mean, we know her range goes far, but the fact that she was able to be so efficient has been crazy. And as you see, so many Iowa fans, there's one LSU guy getting in on the action. Here's the thing about Caitlin Clark, though, because we've been talking about her all season, and not only us, but social media. And when we watch her play basketball games, social media goes crazy.
Bananas.
How important has she been for the women's game in general and just all the buzz that's been going around and surrounding her?
I would absolutely say that I think the women's game is growing, and we saw that with the numbers that were projected. 4.5 average million people watched the games on Friday, and Caitlin Clark played a role in that. But more importantly, like, people are tuning in to see greatness, and I think that she's providing that. You had Dwayne Wade tweeting about her. Our colleagues Ryan Clark were tweeting about her. I was in the suite with some WNBA players, and they were also talking about just how pro-ready she feels, like how dangerous she is from three. So literally everyone is talking about Caitlin Clark, and you can't help but think that that's very good.
I mean, it absolutely is. We've seen Candace Parker tweet, of course. Women in the game recognizing, real game recognized game.
Recognized game.
Patrick Mahomes, Serena Ionescu. Obviously, I mean, would you say that she's a GOAT? Is it too early to say that she's a GOAT?
I mean, I'm not throwing out GOATs just yet, but I feel you, Sabrina. Like, it was definitely a GOAT-like performance.
Right.
We'll say that.
And especially with the fact that Patrick Mahomes obviously tuned in too. That's huge. Just when it comes to the culture of women's college basketball.
Definitely.
So as I mentioned, she's doing things that we haven't seen before. She's the first player with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a Final Four game since 2000.
Wow.
Which is 23 years, guys, if you guys can't do the math. Who was the last person to resonate with this much when it comes to women's college basketball?
Gosh, I think there were so many. I mean, I don't think we cannot mention Cheryl Swoops. Like, if we want to talk about GOATs, absolutely the GOAT. She still holds the record of 47 points in a game. And I don't know if she's going to be cool with her record being broken.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
you know, if Caitlin come out here and put up 48, Cheryl going to look like, well, wait a minute. But, okay, but no, that's definitely one of the best performances. I think you have to also mention Cheryl Miller. She was tournament MVP in 83 and 84, took USC to back-to-back tournaments, so back-to-back championships. So she's one that resonates with me. I think we like to think that Sabrina Ionescu would have had a great tournament had she been able to play, but unfortunately in that 2020 season, there are those who might mention Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, again, another one. She was MVP of her tournament, back-to-back champion with Pat Summitt in Tennessee. She put up some of the best numbers that we've seen. And so I think when we think about overall college basketball, there are many, but Caitlin Clark has certainly solidified herself in this conversation moving forward.
Yeah, and it's definitely important to think about how she resonates today and how those players resonated back then, just for the comparison. Because I feel like a lot of people are just now catching on with how good Caitlin Clark is, with how amazing women's college basketball is. A lot of people are tuning in, but they know who those players are already, the ones that have gone to the W and had very long careers in the W. So being able to compare her to those players is very important.
Absolutely.
When we go back to the game, there was this moment, and I literally in this moment was like, yo, I don't know who she is. I don't know what kind of moxie she has. I don't know what's in her. But I want some of that, because there was a moment in that South Carolina game where Caitlin Clark just waved off a player and was like, I don't need to guard you. You're not gonna pull up, so I'm just gonna.
It was mad disrespect.
What in the heck was going on? How was Iowa able to just completely dominate in that matchup?
Well, I think Iowa's game plan was really simple. I mean, when you really break it down, you really think about it, it was really simple. Pack the paint, close the gaps inside, force South Carolina to shoot. That had been their Achilles heel all season long, was being able to shoot from the perimeter, and they were not able to benefit off of that this game either. They were able to produce, they did what most teams do. Iowa did what most teams do, which is double Aliyah, which is put a body on her. But they forced South Carolina to shoot outside, and South Carolina only shot 39%. They were 4 for 20 from deep. And that was what really, and the thing about it is South Carolina had usually been a team that would come back in the second half, know how to regroup, they find a way to overcome that deficit, but they just could not, because there was a moment where Aliyah went up for a layup, and literally on the very next, which gave them the lead for, I want to say it was like for maybe 30 seconds. Because then Caitlin Clark goes back on the other end and scores a three. And now they're back up again. And so it was really a back and forth moment for a while in terms of being able to score. But when you got someone like Caitlin Clark and you had someone like Monica who was doing a great job inside, it just wasn't enough to play tit for tat. You really needed to be able to take control, and I never felt at any point that South Carolina had control.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Iowa had control of that entire matchup. Now, before the tournament, we talked to ESPN.com bracketologist Charlie Cream, and one of the things that he said that if any team was going to beat South Carolina would have to play a C+, B- game, and any other team would have to play an A+ game. So when you think about that matchup, was it South Carolina that lost that matchup, or was it Iowa that was able to win?
Oh my God, I want my mentions to be off the chain with this question. I know, right? Is it possible to be a little bit of both, right? Because I don't think that it's fair for us to take away from how phenomenal, you know, Iowa's game plan was defensively and how they capitalized on it offensively, right? But I also think that it's completely fair to say that South Carolina did not play their brand of basketball at all. And that absolutely was the difference. There was a moment where I kept saying to myself, well, Aliyah Boston hasn't really got going yet. Aliyah Boston didn't get as many touches as we wanted her to see. She spent some time on the bench in that first quarter. And so I kept thinking to myself, once Aliyah gets going, they're going to be able to turn this thing around, right? At one point, it was like a 2-point game, and I kept saying, you got to feel good about where you are if you're South Carolina, because you still haven't seen Aliyah Boston get going. But the problem was she never really got going. It was Zia Cook. She had 25 points. She really held it down. And so, yeah, I think that they did play a B+, C- game. They did do things to beat themselves. There was a moment in that fourth quarter where there were 3 back-to-back possessions where there was a turnover, there was a missed free throw. It was like, who is this team? So Zia Cook, I definitely have to give her much love, because she showed up, she showed out. She really put the team on her back, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. So you got to give the edge to Iowa.
Yeah, I definitely think that Iowa won that game. And it was a lot of the reasons that you literally said, right? Like the fact that South Carolina wasn't able to play their brand of basketball Iowa called, they had their number. Like, they already knew what they were going in there to do. And I'm sorry, but when I talked about this earlier, but Caitlin Clark looked like that was her basketball court. Honestly, looked like South Carolina was there for her.
Yeah.
She was like, you guys are just here to make me look good. So the fact that she was able to dominate in that way was huge. You mentioned Aliyah Boston. Obviously, we've been talking about her all season, just the same as we've been talking about all the best players in this game.
Yeah.
She declared for the WNBA draft.
Yes, she did.
Just last night. What do you make of her decision?
I agree with her decision. I think that she reached her pinnacle on the college level. I think that she accomplished all that she could accomplish. She is a national champion, and that's something that no one's ever going to be able to take away from her. She has been coached by one of the greatest players and greatest coaches to ever touch a basketball. I think that she's going to be impactful in the WNBA, and that she's ready. She's absolutely ready. So I'm excited for her. She's projected to be #1 overall, and if all things hold true, then Indiana will be getting a heck of a player.
Right, and Dawn Staley said that if she was going to ask her if she should declare for the draft, she said that she would definitely tell her. I mean, like you said, there was nothing else that she could really accomplish in college basketball. I mean, she could have won another national championship. Of course, that would have been great to go out with that, but the fact that she's been able to do all that she has done at South Carolina has been huge. Okay, let's talk about that first matchup, the first game of the night, LSU, Virginia Tech. Oh, wait, first let's look at, obviously, all the things that Aliyah Boston has done. We mentioned it, 2-time SEC Player of the Year, 4-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year. She's reached the Final Four 3 times.
She's just amazing. Like, literally, there's not going to be, that there are so many players, or there are only a few players, shall I say, that you can really say that you feel like have really etched their name in college basketball history, like the Cheryl Millers that we talked about, like the Cheryl Swoops. And Aliyah Boston is certainly one of them. Her teammate, Angel Wilson, is another one for me that sticks out. But, you know, sometimes, as Dawn said in her presser, it wasn't harvest time for South Carolina this year.
Yeah, I liked that she said that, too. It made a lot of sense. All right, let's go to that earlier game, that LSU Virginia Tech game, the first game of the night. And this was a game of runs as LSU started strong before Va-Tech went on a 16-0 run in the middle of the game to take a 9-point lead going into the fourth quarter. However, LSU completely dominated all phases of the fourth quarter en route to their first championship game appearance. What did you make of that fourth quarter from LSU?
There were a couple of things that really struck me as odd about that fourth quarter. Number one, I love the fact that Flau'jae Johnson woke up. I was watching this game and I kept saying, girl, can you not play like a freshman? Because you haven't played like a freshman all year long. This is not the time to do that. And she must have heard me all the way in the back of the room.
Of course.
Because she really came. She came out, she saw the smoke signal, and she came out, and I really loved her because it was more than just her ability to get to the basket. I love the way that she was able to get her teammates open. I love the way that she was causing friction on the side. I love that, and so that was important to me. But on the other end, from Virginia Tech, I kept thinking, you guys have time. Do you know that you have time?
It's not over yet.
It's not. It was like a 10-point game. It was a little under 3 minutes left, and I was just like, do you guys realize you still have time? The defense slacked off quite a bit. They really took the energy, instead of charging the basket, instead of trying to find points here and there, they just kind of settled for threes. And I was completely confused as to why that was the game plan, or even if it was the game plan and more just the inexperience of being in the moment, maybe starting to panic a little bit, starting to take ill-advised shots. So I was a bit disappointed that they didn't close the season out a bit better. And that's not to say disappointed that they lost, because it's sports. A team wins, a team loses. But I was really hoping that they would continue that prowess they showed all year, and they just didn't do it.
So one thing that happened that was really awesome that we saw on social media was the fact that, as you guys know, Flau'jae is a rapper, and Kalani was at the game. And post-game, she looked at her, and you could see that she mouthed, "You're so talented." And I was like, oh, and you know, in the moment, honestly, I was like, oh yeah, she gets buckets. And I was like, oh, she's also a rapper, so that was really cool. Also, Lil Wayne said that he wanted to collab with Flau'jae. But here's my thing with Lil Wayne, though, because Lil Wayne is a fan of every single team. He be FaceTiming everybody.
He really is. He really is a fan of everybody. But it makes sense, though, that he would roll with LSU. At least there's that Louisiana, that, you know, that connection there. But Lil Wayne be down with everybody.
Yeah, I love that. Hopefully they actually collab and actually have a song together. That would be a lot of fun.
I know. You can put me in a video.
Kalani can sing on it. Lil Wayne can rap, and then Flau'jae can rap. that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, Tariq and Christine could be in the video.
Yeah, I'll just be there like this, doing this. I have bars too, but let's not talk about that. Okay, let's talk about the drama, because this was something that you brought up in our pre-production meeting about what's going on with Ashley Owusu, the fact that she hasn't played since February 26th despite being healthy. Walk us through everything that we know so far.
Yeah, so I'm totally here for all the drama, and it has certainly been drama. So beginning of the first half of the game, Ashley Owusu was sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, someone who also covers the game, B. Terrell, he sent out a tweet that was like, hey, Ashley Owusu, see Ashley Owusu sitting here on the bench, and there's Angel Reese, and so Angel Reese mouthed over to the bench to, hey, Woo, tell him.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa,
by the way,
keep in mind, they used to be teammates.
Exactly.
They used to be teammates together in Maryland, so they're familiar with each other. But then that tweet, Angel actually responded to that tweet, which was like, free my girl Awu.
Yeah.
And her teammates start to respond to the tweet. Like, Kayla King had a comment. Yeah, Awu is free. As you see here, Kayana Traylor. I don't know. Check the stats on that. Check the LSU bench, because at some point, Owusu left the bench and people were wondering, where did she go? So they're like, hey, check the LSU bench. So now, in my mind, I'm like, what in the world is going on? That teammates are calling out other teammates on Twitter. And then it got to a point where Traylor's dad even jumped into the tweets. And so, listen, I know we were talking about Angel Reese's mom getting people in her DMs.
Yeah.
They didn't even take it to the DMs, okay? They left it right on
public,
the
out there in the
thread.
streets.
So I don't know what that means for the future of Ashley. I don't know if Virginia Tech is, if that transfer portal is going to be popping down, but keep an eye on that.
I can only imagine that after that situation, you cannot be on that team anymore.
You cannot be on that team.
It's out there in the out there in the public. Everybody knows what's going on. That's probably impossible to bounce back from.
Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned the fact that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are going to be going at it in this matchup. Two of, I would say, the biggest trash talkers in the game. They have a chip on their shoulder. They have a little moxie. Take a look at this.
The best trash talker.
Hands down, without a doubt, Caitlin Clark is the best trash talker.
See her, she's not even looking at her. She's swiped away with her hand.
Angel Reese getting it done down low, inside. Might be too small. I don't know.
She told Haley Manliff, you're down 15 points. Shut up.
There were some words exchanged after this play.
I loved when she did the John Cena thing.
Time for Square Up, presented by Wendy's, where we're going to look at two players who could have the biggest impact on today's game. That's, as we mentioned, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And to have this little conversation, we're welcoming in our very favorite, Monica McNutt.
Monica,
hey, sister. How are we?
I'm good. I'm great.
Wait, this is a good way to start this, because yesterday we had Drea do her best, or 2 days ago, we had Caitlin Clark impersonations from Drea. You give us either your best Angel Reese or Clark impersonations to start this off.
Where's my camera? That's my camera? What they gonna say now? What they gonna say now?
Yes! That was pretty good. A little Bayou Barbie for you. Okay, so we've already talked a little bit about Clark. She's coming off of back-to-back 40-plus point games where she put the team on her back, right? Would it be more surprising if Caitlin Clark had another 40-plus game, or if she had a single-digit game?
I think a single-digit game, because that's literally like 4 field goals potentially. That's being 2.
Yeah.
And that would mean she didn't get to the free throw line. So I think a single-digit game would be more surprising.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, it would have to be a single-digit game.
For sure.
Like, at this point, she could go.
How can you stop her?
Like, at this point, she could. For me to be like not impressed at a 40-point game at this point, she's got to drop 50.
Right.
If she drop 50, then it's over.
Right. Yeah. The game producer, Carrie Callahan, actually said that she had a game where she did drop 45, but they lost.
Wow.
So it doesn't even matter either way.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that we thought was really funny that we saw on social media is that Caitlin Clark has scored more points in the postseason, that's conference NCAA tournament, than the Iowa football team scored the entire year. Did you see that?
I didn't see that, but that's not fair because that sport goes by a different number.
Anyways,
Kinda.
but that's huge. That's huge. I bet that doesn't happen in other teams, right?
Doesn't happen often, no.
So Alexis Moore said there's basically no way that they can contain Clark. Like, it's going to be very impossible to shut her down. So what does LSU's game plan need to be in order to try to slow her down?
I mean, honestly, and I don't say this lightly, please don't confuse something being simple with it being easy. It would be to keep the ball out of her hands, which is practically impossible. But I think you make it as difficult as possible once she gives the ball up. When she has the ball, obviously Alexis Morris is going to be the main one kind of tasked with making it as difficult as possible. But when she goes for a handoff or when she picks up her dribble, like, you want to do as much as you can to keep her there. If you remember on Friday night, her dribble is always live. Yeah. And the few times that she did pick up her dribble, one time she had Camila Cardoso going for the pump fake, but like, you gotta keep the ball out of her hands as much as possible and make her as inefficient as possible.
Now, listen, I know that there is not much that you can criticize Caitlin Clark on. It's virtually impossible. But there's one thing that I have been getting on Caitlin about
tell me.
Season long. Where does she go in the third quarter? Is she in the bathroom? Is she still in the locker room? She was averaging 5 points. She had 6 points in the third quarter. She was averaging 4.7 points this year total, minus the tournament in the third quarter. How do you have 41 points and only 6 of them came in the third? And she played the entire third quarter. For me, I feel like the third quarter is the time where you want to, like, keep your foot on the gas, right? Apparently,
wait. Y'all need to see Monica's face right now.
Like, where do you go in the third?
Because Monica,
you go in the third.
Now, Tarika, my friend.
Wait, come on, I'm tripping.
My friend that has followed basketball of all sorts at a very high level.
Am I tripping?
Let's not get drunk off the stats.
I'm not getting
drunk off the stats. Because how are you stuck on a third quarter performance considering all that she's been able to lead the team to do?
It's the only thing that I have been able to criticize this incredible person on the entire year. I just don't get it.
I thought you were going to say defense, and I was about to be like, yeah, fair. But third quarter, baby girl, you are reaching.
But listen, don't look. And look, Coach Peck is over here waiting shaking her head at me. But I'm like, I legitimately, again, it's not to say that the performance.
I got you.
But it's the one thing that I have noticed, if that's a better way to put it, the one thing that I have noticed the entire season is that she takes third quarter off. And clearly it don't matter. It don't matter, clearly.
This is what I would submit to you, because you're right. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I would submit that in the third quarter, teams are fresh off of their rah-rah moment in the locker room. They are mindful and locked in on whatever set adjustments they think they're going to make.
There you go.
And so Caitlin is taking a moment maybe to recalibrate something that she didn't see in the first half.
There you go.
And then we know what happens in the fourth.
That's it. Right. Exactly.
She goes off.
Exactly.
She just need to take a little breather.
That was my ticky-tack moment.
Just peel it back a little bit. Just peel it back a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the Bayou Barbie, Angel Reese. She's a double-double machine. She's got 33 on the year, tying an all-time record for the most in the season. She's averaging 22.6 points per game. We can just sit here and rattle off her stats. What have you seen out of her game that makes her so good?
You know, when they joined us Friday night after the game, after we finished the set, she was tremendous on set. Kim was so much fun too. I actually said to her, I was like, I've actually been thoroughly impressed with you. Yeah. I think it's one thing to see the numbers, the monstrous numbers, 22 and 16. I think it's another thing to know the marketing. I think she leads all the athletes here in terms of NIL deals. And the marketing is on point, honey. The lashes are coming, the hair is going, the nails are not.
Always.
But what I've actually been really impressed with, and I think folks need to take into consideration when they have conversations about Angel Reese, is her timing, right? In the moments that her team needs her to start talking a little bit of trash or talking to them, talking trash to them for that matter, combining it, she has shown up in big-time moments every time throughout the course of this tournament. And she talked candidly about that matchup versus Utah, because Utah had this team on the ropes.
Yeah.
And then Angel locked back in, right? I mean, even the other day, Virginia Tech had this team on the ropes leading after the third quarter, and she talked about taking the rebounds personally and showing up for her team. And so I know folks have had plenty of conversations about the branding and all the other stuff. The numbers not only speak for themselves, but I also think if you watched her on the biggest stage, those numbers are not empty. The character is there, and she's very mindful as a leader of what her group needs.
She is. And, I would even follow up with that to say I think it's her intangibles that really help to propel her to the player that she is. One of the things that we said on a previous show is that there was so much conversation about LSU's schedule and how soft their schedule was. And I thought that it was awesome that it gave them the ability to kind of figure out how to gel. It gave them the ability to kind of figure out how to play together. And I love seeing the way that her and Alexis Morris play off each other, the way they seem to play together. Would you also say that not only did the schedule maybe help that, but just the fact that she has those kind of intangibles to be impactful other than just the rebounding, other than just the scoring?
I think that that's a group of girls that really get one another.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, I think back to my college days and being tasked with being a leader, and sometimes that meaning that you had to have the uncomfortable conversations with your teammates.
Yeah.
I think there's so much love and respect. I mean, this is 9 girls that have gone into the transfer portal and landed at LSU. And so to a degree, they are walking in the gratitude of understanding that for whatever reason, the last schools that they were at didn't fit. And so I think there's a collective intentionality in making it fit. And that is to give one another room to be who they are and to hold one another accountable. And child, lay in the championship game, so it has worked.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Quickly, just a one-word answer. Which team is more likely to slow down a star? Iowa slowing down Reese, or LSU slowing down Clark?
Wow. I'm going to go Iowa slowing Reese in the first half until she adjusts. I think McKenna Warnock doesn't get enough credit for what she's able to do for that squad.
True.
Perfect. All right, thanks so much, Monty. We love you. Love seeing you.
Hey, y'all. Y'all look great.
Yay. Okay, so as we already know, Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird have a show on ESPN2 and ESPN+, and they always have a good time. They had a really great time on Friday. Check this out.
Welcome back. They brought us back. Oh, yeah, we've upgraded, folks. You know, there's an upgrade. And so it begins. Cheryl Swoops.
It's all about you. It's all about you.
This is live. The Viking Princess. Let's get it. Let's go.
We're talking about
LSU all day. Yeah.
Angel Reese is going to be a problem.
This LSU team is nice. You know, they're into it.
Did you say a peacock?
Hey, if it works for Miss Mulkey, it worked for me too. Maybe I need to change up my all black.
Shut up. We got to go to break, bro.
Man, this Kim is a G.
We love the 90s.
I did love the 90s.
I just thrived in the 90s. You know, she has that like small town swag. Love to rap and I'm so bad.
It's the crap.
The cream, baby, living my dream. Hey, that's all I got.
Still my dance moves. Welcome back to the show. We're here for the second semifinal. The crowd is going absolutely bananas here because Caitlin is doing Caitlin things.
Left elbow jumper, boom. Give me more. Give me more. This is Caitlin's crowning moment right here.
Their whole game plan had to have been revolving around Caitlin Clark.
No doubt about
and she
it.
still has 40.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that was a mic drop.
I love this show.
Oh my gosh, they have so much fun. We're now here with Carolyn Peck, who joins the show.
Hey.
CP, I haven't asked you this, but I just was reminded this as we were watching the highlights from Sue and Diana. How do you feel about Kim Mulkey's? I know you guys had your like, we had one, and you had like your homage to Kim Mulkey's jackets. How do you feel about what she rocks on the sideline? Would you ever rock something like that?
Okay, well, let's go to first Sue Bird's outfit.
Always.
Okay.
Always go to.
That was on point.
Amazing.
So let's start with Sue.
For sure.
But then with Kim Mulkey, look, you know what? You never know what to expect. When she was at Baylor, she would wear animals.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have some snakes, some reptiles, snake skin. And so even as announcers, we would show up to the arena. We could not wait to see what she was going to wear. Imagine what that does for fans.
Yeah.
They want to come in and see what she's going to wear, and then you get to see the product that's on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great way to really attract fans in. Might be for Kim's outfit, but they come back because there's talent.
Exactly.
That's
Because
right.
they're in the title game. That's why they're here. Okay, so let's talk about this matchup. As I mentioned earlier in the show, this is the first time since 2011 that no number 1 seed is in the title game, which is huge for the parity of women's college basketball. Iowa found a lot of success versus South Carolina by daring them to shoot open shots, right? So what will they do against an LSU team that shoots 20% from the three-point line in this tournament?
Well, LSU has demonstrated that they can get hot from the perimeter, so I don't think Iowa is going to play as far off of LSU as they did South Carolina and allow Alexis Morris, or Lex Luthor, as we call her, to get hot early. And Flage Johnson has struggled over the last 4 games of shooting the basketball. You leave that freshman open and she see a couple go through the hoop, it could be on for LSU. So I believe that the Iowa defense has got to extend itself a little bit further than it did against South Carolina.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, same thing. I was actually saying that I don't think that they're going to crowd the paint as much either, because there's no need to. The way that you do it against South Carolina, you kind of have to. So there's definitely no need to do that. But also the second chance points. What do you think Iowa will need to be able to do in order to stop LSU from getting the opportunities to get second chance points? Because that's how they've been capitalizing for sure.
In the Virginia Tech game, you know, most time post players, when the ball comes into the post, you bring the double team. Well, Virginia Tech was sending a double team to Angel Reese on the box out. So that's what you're going to have to do. It takes 2 or 3 people to keep Angel Reese off the glass. And the thing about Angel is, it's not the first jump, but it's the second. She is relentless on the glass. And sometimes she's coming from the high post. Sometimes she's coming from the free throw line area. She can be on the wing. She doesn't stop pursuing the basketball when it comes to creating those extra possessions.
Yeah. There are 2 players in this matchup that we talked about all season, right? Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. We've talked a lot about some other players that are going to be in this matchup. They're going to be huge for each team if they want to win a title game. But what are some X factors in this matchup that maybe we haven't been talking about as much?
LaDasia Williams for LSU, all right? So against Utah, they were bringing double teams on Angel Reese and leaving LaDasia Williams open at the free throw line area. She's got a nice face-up game. Remember, she came from Missouri. In Missouri, you had to be able to score the ball in a number of different places. So if that double team happens, also, it's going to be key for Kateri Poole. Move her to the point guard spot. That allows Alexis Morris to be in that shooting guard role. Or you've got Kateri Poole coming off ball screens, and when the help comes over, you know who's on the other side? Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
So those are scoring opportunities for LSU. Now, when it comes to Iowa, I believe that you have to, you talked about guarding Caitlin Clark. Well, I think that you've got to surprise trap her if they try to run ball screen action. You also have to get her out of the middle of the floor, because if you don't, then you have McKenna Warnock, who can knock down threes. And Gabby Marshall, look, she got some threes in her pocket because she only got 1 shot attempt in the game on Friday, and she has been on fire from the three-point line.
I feel so much smarter about my basketball IQ now, because literally my
exactly
2 X factors were LaDasia Williams and Gabby Marshall. So I agree with Coach 100%.
Yeah.
I think
I was looking at your
You really see, that's the confirmation right there. But yeah, so ultimately, and I don't want to steal this away from you, but I guess ultimately, you know, I want to ask the same question that we asked of Monica. Who do you think will have a harder time trying to stop their star? Will it be Iowa trying to stop Angel, or LSU trying to stop Angel Reese?
I think that it'll be harder for LSU to try to stop Caitlin Clark. But I think that there are ways that you can do it. Listen, if I am Kim Mulkey, I am saying, Iowa, if you're going to beat me, somebody else is going to have to do it. Now, I understand that you got 3 three-point shooters that shoot over 38 or 37% from 3, but I'm going to make you beat me from 3, and I'm not going to give you 2s, because Monica Zanano, she's shooting 68% in the post. Don't let the ball come inside. That three-point shot's got to be a lot harder than the 2s.
All right, who do you think is going to win this matchup, Coach?
I think it's going to be a good one. And I'm always for the underdog. Like, I always want to see a great game. And Kim Mulkey has won 3 national championships, right? Bringing the defense. But dang, Caitlin Clark is on fire. I think that Iowa is going to be the second Big Ten team to win a national championship.
I got to roll with Iowa. I hope I don't regret it.
No, I'm definitely rolling with Iowa, too. Like you mentioned, underdog. And I'm sorry, but Caitlin Clark is absolutely dominating. She's lights out. She takes over every single game. I want to see her win a championship with that moxie for sure. Thank you, Coach. I want to give a shout out to the Iowa fans back here because they've been rowdy. They've been a little crazy. They've been bringing all of the fandom that we probably need for this title game. They got Caitlin Clark. We got some LSU Tigers over here too. It's great to be out here, guys. Thanks for watching Countdown to the Final.